Do you ever wonder if your cat knows when they've done something wrong, and more quietly, if they try to make it right? Because cats don't apologize the way humans do. There's no obvious signal, no clear moment, and yet, if you pay attention, there are subtle behaviors that begin to appear after tension, distance, or conflict. Small things, easy to dismiss, but they're not random. They're communication. 1. The misunderstanding, my cat doesn't feel guilt. Most people believe that cats don't experience anything close to guilt or remorse, that when they knock something over, scratch too hard, or bite unexpectedly, they simply move on. And on the surface, that seems true. Your cat doesn't come back looking shamed. They don't regret actions the way humans define it. But this is where the misunderstanding begins. Cats don't operate through moral judgment. They operate through emotional balance. So when something disrupts that balance, a loud reaction, a sudden movement, tension in your voice, your cat doesn't think, I was wrong. They think, something changed. And what follows is their version of repairing that change. 2. The first signal, quiet, reapproach. After a tense moment, many cats will leave. They create distance, not as punishment, but as a way to reset safety. Then, after some time, they come back, not directly, not confidently. Slow steps, softer posture, slight hesitation. This is often misunderstood as randomness, but it isn't. This is your cat testing the emotional space again, not to apologize in words, but to ask, is it safe now? If you've ever noticed your cat returning and sitting just nearby, not touching, just present, this is one of the earliest forms of repair. It's quiet, but intentional. This is where the shift begins. 3. The subtle gesture, gentle contact. Sometimes, instead of staying at a distance, your cat will initiate contact. A soft head bump, a light brush against your leg, even a slow blink from across the room. These are not random affection gestures. They carry meaning. Cats use physical contact as a way to reconnect emotional alignment. When your cat gently touches you after tension, they're not just being affectionate. They're reintroducing familiarity, their scent, their presence, their calm. In their world, this is how relationships stabilize again, not through explanation, but through shared calm. 4. What owners assume versus what's actually happening. Owners often assume, my cat is just being needy now, or they forgot what happened. But what's actually happening is more precise. Your cat is adjusting to your emotional state. They read tone, posture, movement, and energy far more than words. So when something feels off, they don't confront it. They adapt around it. And when they sense that things have softened, they re-enter carefully. If you genuinely care about your cat, this is something you begin to notice over time. Not because it's obvious, but because it repeats. 5. The behavioral effect, increased softness. After a moment of tension, some cats become gentler. Their movements slow down, their interactions feel more controlled. They might approach with less intensity, play less aggressively, stay closer but quieter. It seems small, it isn't. This is your cat adjusting behavior to maintain stability, not out of fear, but out of awareness. They're not thinking, I need to be good. They're sensing, I need to keep this calm. And in that sense, it is a form of apology, not in words, but in behavior. 6. The trust layer, staying close instead of leaving. There's another variation, and it only appears when trust is deeper. Instead of leaving after a tense moment, your cat stays, not fully relaxed, but not retreating either. They remain nearby, watching, waiting. This is not indifference. This is restraint. Your cat is choosing not to disconnect, which means something important. They trust the relationship enough to repair it without distance, and that's a higher level of emotional connection. And this is what most people miss. 7. Emotional translation. What your cat is actually saying. If we translate these behaviors into human language, they wouldn't sound like, I'm sorry. They would sound more like, I felt the shift. I don't want distance. I'm adjusting. I'm still here. Cats don't repair relationships through apology. They repair through presence and behavior, because for them, safety is not rebuilt through words. It's rebuilt through consistency, through calm, through predictability. 8. The subtle risk when repair is ignored. There's something else happening here, quietly. When a cat attempts to reconnect and the human responds with continued tension, frustration, or unpredictability, the cat adapts, but not in the way people expect. They don't escalate, they withdraw, not dramatically, not immediately, but gradually. They stop initiating contact as often. They hesitate longer before returning. They choose distance more frequently, not because they don't care, but because repair no longer feels safe. And over time, that changes the relationship. 9. The deeper shift, from reaction to choice. At the deepest level, your cat's apology is not about correcting behaviour. It's about preserving connection. Cats don't stay bonded out of obligation. They stay because the environment feels right, because your presence feels predictable, because your reactions feel stable, because returning to you feels safe. So when they come back after tension, when they soften, when they reach out in small, quiet ways, they're choosing the relationship again, not because they have to, but because they want to. 10. Final understanding. It was never about guilt. At the beginning, the question was simple. Do cats apologize? But now it becomes clearer. They don't apologize through guilt. They don't reflect the way humans do. Instead, they respond to emotional shifts with behaviors designed to restore balance. And those behaviors, the quiet return, the gentle contact, the softened presence, are the closest thing to an apology in their world. Emotional peak. There's something deeper happening underneath all of this. When your cat reconnects with you after tension, their brain is reinforcing familiarity, scent memory, emotional recognition, and even small releases of bonding chemistry like oxytocin, not in a dramatic surge, but in subtle reinforcement. Every calm reconnection tells your cat, this space is still safe, this human is still predictable, this bond is still intact. And over time, that's what builds real attachment. Not dominance, not control, but consistency. Your cat was never trying to say sorry in the way you expected. They were doing something quieter. They were coming back, adjusting, rebalancing, and in their own way, choosing you again.